Up everyone, welcome to the Rugby League History channel. Tonight I'll be rating the 2022 Betfred Super League home and away kits. A couple of weeks back I did the NRL version of this video. If you haven't checked that out, go ahead and check it out. But tonight I'll be focusing on the Betfred Super League home and away kits of 2022. I'll be featuring every kit tonight except for Toulouse Olympics kits. The reason behind that is I've been checking their website over the last couple of months waiting for them to release their 2022 home and away kits, and they haven't done it, and the season's starting in the next couple of weeks, so I've decided just to go ahead and do this video without waiting for Toulouse Olympics kit. The first kit that I'll be rating tonight is the 2022 home and away kits for Castleford. Castleford's shirt, I think, is a big improvement on last year. I did not like Castleford's kits from last year. To me, they didn't really look like a Castleford shirt. But this particular one, the home shirt that I'm showing you now, I really like this one. I like the colour of it. I like the sponsor placement. I don't mind that white V either with the black on the top there. And if we look at the away kit, this is the away shirt for Castleford. I don't mind this one either. I like the way it looks. I think the only thing that's maybe something that I'm not really a fan of is the grey. Maybe if it was a different colour, but other than that, I think it's an alright looking home and away shirt for Castleford this year. I think it's better than what they've had in the past, and I'll give both of these a 7.5 out of 10. I think that they're alright shirts. The next shirts on this list that I'll be rating are Catalan Dragons 2022 home and away shirts, and they've been nice enough to pose in the same photo with both. The home shirt is a bit different from last year. If you remember the one last year, it had a bit of a grey tone to it, but this one, it's got white with the Perpignan coat of arms colours in a V going across the chest there. I like the sponsor placement. I don't mind the red shoulders either. As for the away shirt, this one is entirely a homage towards the Perpignan area and the Perpignan coat of arms there. It's got the colours. Even though it's pretty bright to look at, it's got that sort of McDonald's colour to it. I don't mind it. I think it's an alright away shirt. I really like the home shirt. I think I'll give both of these a 7.5, 8 out of 10. I think that Catalan have done a good job. And now we move on to the Huddersfield home and away shirts. Last year, Huddersfield, their home shirt, it kind of looked a bit like a Brisbane kit from the early 90s, mid-90s. This year, they're going back to tradition, and I think it's a really nice looking shirt. I like the sponsor placements. The collar looks nice. The sleeves are good. I think it's a very traditional looking shirt. I really like this one. I'd probably give this one about an 8.5 out of 10. I think it's a lot better than last year's home shirt. Even though I did like last year's shirt, I think this one is better. And the away shirt for Huddersfield, it's actually, this one, if you look at the design on it, it's actually a homage to when the club was founded and when Rugby League was born at the George Hotel there in 1895. The design on it is similar to the art decor with inside the George Hotel, so they're looking for that sort of homage towards the past there. I think this is a good away shirt. I think it's a cracking looking kit. I like that it's black and it's got the sort of teal armbands, and the sponsor looks good. So I'd probably give this one an 8 out of 10. I really like it. And now we move on to the first of the two Hull clubs, Hull FC. This is their home shirt for 2022, and this one pays respect and looks back at the championship winning side of 1956. If you look at that shirt, this one's pretty identical. It's got a very Western Suburbs vibe about it for the NRL fans on this channel. I really like it. I'd give this Hull FC shirt an 8.5 out of 10. I preferred last year's home shirt. I thought that was probably the best home shirt out of all the ones last year, but this one is quite good. I think it's a very nice home kit. And now we move on to the away kit for Hull FC for 2022. I think this one looks alright. It kind of reminds me of an Everton shirt in a way. I think a long time ago Everton did an away shirt like this one. The only thing I don't really like about this one is the pink band that goes across the chest. I don't know why they decided to put that there, but besides that, it's an alright away shirt. I'd probably give it a 7.5 out of 10 for the away shirt for Hull FC. But as I said, it's not a bad away shirt by any stretch of the imagination. And now we move on to Hull FC's bitter rivals, Hull KR. And this is their home shirt for 2022, and I don't really like this one at all. I think it looks shite. Especially with the way that Lachlan Coote's wearing this. He looks like a young'un that's bought a shirt that's too big for him, and he's kind of been forced to wear it by his parents. But I also took another photo of this jersey because I think this one doesn't really give it that much justice, even though I still think it's not a very nice looking shirt. But this is the Hull KR's home kit for 2022. I don't like what's going on around the bottom of the jersey. The top half looks okay. It's just the bottom half ruins it. It kind of reminds me of what Middlesbrough did with their home shirt about 5 or 6 years ago, where they had that weird sash going across the torso bit. If they probably would have left it plain, I probably would have rated it higher. And as for the away shirt, I'm not too sure what they do with this. This one, I'm not really a fan of this one at all. I've seen some of the players wear it, and it actually looks worse than Pearson because it's very bright. It's a very bright yellow banana colour. So for Hull KR's home and away shirts, I'd probably give them a 3 out of 10. They're not very nice. Their shirts last year weren't that great either, so 3 out of 10 for me. Now we move on to the Leeds home shirt for 2022. Unfortunately, for some reason, I couldn't get the away shirt on here, so we're just going to talk about the home shirt, which I think is more important anyway. This is going back to tradition for Leeds. I think it's a cracking looking shirt. This is a shirt that screams Leeds to me. I've seen them wear this design multiple times in the past throughout their history. They continue to go with the Leeds Building Society sponsor. I like the collar, the sleeves. I think it's a really good shirt. Last year they went with a white home shirt, which a lot of fans were kind of sat on the fence on. Some liked it and some didn't like it. I myself personally, I enjoyed their shirt from last year, the home one. I thought it looked alright. But this year they've gone back to tradition, like with a lot of clubs on this list. And I think it's a smashing looking shirt. I'd give this one a 9 out of 10, maybe even a 9.5 out of 10. I really like this shirt from Leeds for 2022. And this is the Salford home and away shirts of 2022. Nick from Australia said, last year they went with a Paris Saint-Germain styled kit with the stripe going down the middle. This year they've elected to go with a V, like a sort of a darkish colour, and then sort of a lighter sort of a white over the top with a white collar. The shorts look okay. The colour of the kit looks okay. The only thing that I'm not really a fan of is the sponsor. The sponsor kind of ruins it for me. For the away shirt, they've elected to go with a black one. It's got a bit of yellow in there. But once again, that sponsor really, it's really big, and it's hard not to get your eyes off the sponsor. I don't mind the colour of the away of the home one. I think it looks sound, but I just think that overall the sponsor placement ruins the shirt for me for both the home and away. So for the Salford home shirt, I'll give that a 6.5 out of 10, and for the away shirt, I'll give it a 4 out of 10. And now we move on to St Helens home shirt and away shirt for 2022. The last couple of years, their kits have been very good. I liked the one in 2019. I liked the one in 2020, 2021. But this year, it's been a couple of months or so since it's been released. And at the time, I absolutely hated it. I thought it was the worst looking kit in the Super League. But over time, I've kind of changed my stance on it. It's a kit that's based off some of the shirts that St Helens wore in the 1990s, just going back through some of the kit history. They got a brand new sponsor. The sponsor for the next couple of years is going to be Home Bargains. A lot of fans from Saints were complaining, going, "Our cash converters don't like that sponsor. Get rid of that sponsor. It makes us look cheap." And now they've got Home Bargains as the brand new sponsor. But as you can see, this is the away shirt for St Helens. They've gone with black and teal, and the teal's in a V. I think the away shirt looks alright. It kind of looks a bit more like a training shirt, but I think it looks alright for an away shirt. I think a lot of St Helens fans are not happy with the Home Bargain sponsor. I myself, as long as they keep winning, I'm not too concerned with what sponsor they've got. As for the home shirt, it's kind of grown on me as time's gone on. I think we'll look back at this time and maybe in a few years people will want this shirt, because people will go, remember when we released that really ugly looking shirt back in 2022? There'll be probably people that will want to collect it and people that will probably want to buy it in the future. It'll probably be one of those type of shirts. But I'd say at best I'd give St Helens home shirt a 6.5 out of 10 and the away about a 7. And now we move on to Wakefield's home shirt and away shirt for 2022. The home shirt is going back to that traditional colour that Wakefield have worn for many, many years. The only difference is that I'm used to seeing the red and blue band go across the chest, or maybe a red and blue V. But this time they've decided to go with sort of a white, just plain front, with the colours going down the side of the shirt. The sponsor remains the same. They've changed their badge. The badge is different, and it's also got 2 stars on top, which I don't mind. I think it's all right. The away shirt looks nice. It's black predominantly with blue on the sleeves there. So I think Wakefield shirts are quite nice. I don't mind them. I'd probably give both the home and away shirts of Wakefield 7.5, 8 out of 10. I think they look nice. And here is the 2022 home and away shirts for Wigan. Last year, Wigan went for a very weird colour scheme, which coincided with the new badge release. This year, they're celebrating 150 years since their foundation, which is included on the badge. This year, they've gone very traditional with the home and away shirts, Wigan. And an interesting note is that with the 2022 home and away shirts, you can actually buy them without the sponsor. Because I know that there's people out there that don't like sponsors, so you can buy this shirt home and away without sponsors. But as in terms of the home and away shirts, I really like the home shirt. I think it looks great, classic, traditional, something I'd expect from Wigan. Looks very clean. The away shirt, very nice as well. I like the colour of the away shirt. I think Wigan's home and away shirts are probably one of the best going into the 2022 Betfred Super League season. So I'd give both the home and away shirts for Wigan an 8.5, 9 out of 10, maybe even a 9.5 out of 10. I really like the Wigan home shirts for 2022. And lastly, I'm going to talk about Warrington's home and away shirts for 2022. When I first saw Warrington's home shirt, it immediately screamed to me Parramatta, because being a Parramatta supporter, it looks like the shirts that we used to wear in the mid to late 90s. And if you look at this photo here, this is the Parramatta shirt from the mid to late 90s there. So it looks very Parramatta, but I don't mind the Warrington home shirt. I think it looks very nice. It's what you expect from Warrington, but I don't like the sponsor though. That Hoover sponsor, never been a fan of it. I wish they'd get shot of it, but they're obviously still continuing with Hoover. The away shirt, I don't mind. As an away shirt, looks pretty good. They've gone for a white look with some crosses going across, and then you've got the blue sleeves as well. I don't really mind it. I think it looks okay. It's just that sponsor kind of ruins it for me. But for the Warrington home shirt, I'd probably give it a 7.5, 8 out of 10. I quite like the home shirt from Warrington. As for the away shirt, I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10. Unfortunately, the sponsor it's not very good. Hopefully in the future, Warrington can get shot of this sponsor and get a different sponsor that doesn't look so big and so red. But anyway, that's me 2022 Betfred Super League kit rating video. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know in the comment section below, which kits do you like the most, which kits do you hate, and which kits are you planning on buying for 2022? Let me know. Anyways, this is Rugby League History signing off. Catch us all later. Tatty bye for now.